What's going on, guys? Welcome to another second stimulus check update and package update. Now, the fight for more stimulus will continue, and it's going to continue until the American people feel that they have been taken care of. That has not happened yet. This $900 billion stimulus package that includes $600 in stimulus checks is not enough, and the American people know this. If Congress thinks that the American people are not going to fight in this tough time during this pandemic, they are wrong. The American people have made it very clear. They are strong, and we will continue to fight for our lives, for our livelihoods. We will continue to fight. Now, I just want to say that I do not condone vandalism or violence. However, for some people, this is the only way they feel they can get their message heard. Earlier today, Mitch McConnell's home, or the front door of his home, was vandalized in Louisville, Kentucky. His front door was spray painted and it read, "Where's my money?" Yesterday, Nancy Pelosi's home was vandalized as well. It was her garage, not her front door, and it said, it had spray paint on the garage door, had red paint, it symbolized blood, and then a pig head in the front of her garage. It said, "2K, cancel rent, UBI," which stands for Universal Basic Income. "We want everything." That's what it said. Now, I don't condone vandalism in any way, but this is what we could see more and more of. A few experts came out earlier today and said this is what we could see over the next couple of weeks. If we do not see a $2,000 stimulus check, this is what we could see more of. Vandalism. People heading to some of our leaders' houses. We could see people showing up to the White House. We could see people showing up to Mitch McConnell's house again. Nancy Pelosi's house again. This is what we could see. The American people right now do not feel that they have been listened to for good reason. We haven't been listened to. Even multiple Republicans have stated we need $2,000 stimulus checks. But where are they? Are they anywhere to be found? No. According to multiple media outlets earlier today, roughly 70% of Americans feel that Republicans are at fault. 25% believe Nancy Pelosi herself is the one to blame because of the lack of stimulus. This and many other reasons are the reasons why Republicans are currently worried that Democrats will win the 2 seats in Georgia. This happens in just 3 days. If Democrats win both seats, then what we can see is they will have full control over the Senate, the House, and the presidency. That's going to be big. This will provide them much more power than they currently have. This could mean we could see bills that we never anticipated to see under Mitch McConnell's eye and under his watch. We could see these in the next few days. The biggest thing being talked about right now, honestly, isn't actually $2,000 stimulus checks. Looking through the internet, scouring the internet last night, earlier this morning, I did a video earlier this morning as well, and I reiterated this exact same thing. There's not a lot of updates out there. Many people in Congress are currently quiet. Well, it's rightfully so. The new Congress comes into session tomorrow at noon. The 116th Congress ends, and the 117th Congress will now be in session tomorrow at noon. So, what is actually being talked about? This is something that we will have to wait on as far as the $2,000 stimulus checks. It could happen tomorrow. We could see another vote on it, but the vote will most likely come in the House. As far as anything past that, I don't see anything happening until at least after the Georgia Senate runoff. And again, that's in 3 days. But with Mitch McConnell, will he be able to object to putting any bill on the floor at this time? He will. He will not have a vote on any bill right now. He's not going to have this. He's not going to let the American people see how divided the Senate Republicans actually are. They're very divided. More people, I believe right now, and this is according to Josh Hawley, Bernie Sanders, Mitt Romney, Lindsey Graham, others as well, they are saying or implying that more Republicans would vote in favor of the Democrats' proposal than would vote against it. That $2,000 stimulus checks for all, more Republicans, especially in the Senate, would vote for this as opposed to against it. That's huge. That would show a very divided party. So, what is currently the most talked about issue? What is currently the most pressing issue above and beyond $2,000 stimulus checks? You're probably thinking, there's nothing. Nothing's more important than the $2,000 stimulus checks. In some cases, you're right. In some cases, the $2,000 stimulus checks, the difference between a $600 and $2,000 check, can seriously mean life or death to many people. Can seriously mean whether somebody has a home or they are homeless. Can be the difference between putting food on the table and living without food for another week. That's the difference. Well, currently, Operation Warp Speed is currently the thing that is having the biggest issues. This is what many people are saying is the most pressing issue. Right now, Operation Warp Speed, if you're not sure what that is, it's pretty much just the delivery of the COVID vaccine. That's what that is. Well, we heard from multiple people, and they all said the same thing. The goal was Operation Warp Speed was to have out 20 million vaccines distributed to the states by January 1st, 2021. Well, it's January 2nd. How many do we have distributed? We have about 12.5 million doses as of today. So we are 7.5 million doses behind in just distribution, not even considering the vaccinations. But even worse, out of those 12.5 million vaccines that have been delivered, less than 3 million people have been vaccinated. And this is with only one dose. Now, why and what does this have to do with stimulus and getting more stimulus? Well, it's actually pretty simple. The reason why the rollout for this vaccine has been so slow is because of the logistics behind the operation. This is according to multiple governors. Hospitals are currently overrun. Clinics are currently overrun. They cannot administer the vaccine properly and efficiently and effectively and in a safe manner and continue to care for their patients. States do not have the funds necessary to set up vaccination locations and administer the shots themselves. They do not have the people. They do not have the funds. They cannot secure a location. They cannot pay for tents. They cannot pay for a lot of things that they need. They do not have it available to them because they cannot afford it. In addition to that, they cannot hire additional people because there's not enough people that are technically capable or have been taught the correct way to administer a shot. I'm pretty sure you and I, for one, do not want to drive up to a vaccination location and see somebody that I just saw working at Home Depot the other day. I don't want to see them trying to give me a shot. Or if I pull in and I see the gas station attendant trying to give me a shot, I'm not going to take it. I am just not going to take it. So that's what's currently being said. There is not enough properly trained individuals that can do this. This is a nightmare. This is a nightmare, but it can be solved according to multiple governors. We just need more funds. We need to bring back some of the retired doctors and nurses and people that are currently on leave. Bring them back, but how do we do that? You need more money. You need to entice them in some way. Well, what needs to happen is that the states need to be given money to provide the vaccine to the American people. Currently, that's what's being talked about. That's what's taking priority over the $2,000 stimulus checks. And Republicans, specifically Senate Republicans, are saying, let's just open up the states and let's just let everybody get back to work and everything will be fine. Well, possibly it could work in certain states. In some states, in small, cramped offices, it would most likely just spread COVID even faster. So, what do we do? Well, right now, they are saying the $9 billion that was set aside to distribute the vaccine is not enough. And the American people need more money. The American people need a way to get this vaccine in a timely manner. How do we do that? Well, again, it comes down to the $2,000 stimulus checks. What we are hearing this morning is the fastest way, and we know this, the fastest way to get people to take a vaccine is to have them line up and go one by one and take this vaccine. This is exactly what we're doing for COVID testing at this point. This is what we're doing here in this country. That's what other countries are doing as well. People line up in their cars, they pull up, they get tested, they drive off. Well, how can we get vaccines distributed a little bit quicker? Especially being that we have, 9 million vaccines just sitting there doing nothing? What's the best way to do this? People line up, they take a vaccine, they get their vaccination, they drive off. They come back in 3 weeks or a month. Simple. They just need a location. They need the proper setup. Pretty simple. And they need a handful of people that are willing to do it. Properly trained nurses, doctors, possibly even volunteers. And yes, vaccines should be set aside for those people that need it the most. Those hardest hit individuals, people that are in long-term care, things like retirement homes, things like that. But that should be done in a clinic or hospital. That should be done by people that are really trained. It's in a certain setting. That's how that should be done. This is according to multiple reports. But right now, states do not have the funding. But here's what a few governors are saying, and this is what they can ask people to do. Okay? They are saying they can ask people to take time off work, go sit hours in a line, and wait for their vaccine. They can ask that. But people are going to tell them, well, if you want me to take hours off of work, provide me with a stimulus check. Provide me with, some unemployment pay for the hours that I lose. Well, how do you do that? Well, it's simple. Larger stimulus check, unemployment benefits. To sign up for unemployment benefits, to sit in a line for a few hours, it's not really reasonable. But if every single American is supposed to get this vaccine, then shouldn't it be up to Congress, and shouldn't the easiest thing to do right now just let's give everybody an additional $1,000 stimulus check? $1,000 was thrown out by one governor. I didn't write down who it was. I don't know if it even said, but just $1,000. Okay, so the family gets $1,000. Cool. Go get a vaccine. Well, we must find a way, according to one person, we must find a way to incentivize these people. This is where a larger stimulus check comes in. How do you incentivize somebody that's currently down on their luck, currently doesn't have a job, or currently doesn't want to take the vaccine? What do you do? Well, one report a few months back, actually maybe 2 to 3 months back, before the election, said, how about we give every single person that takes the vaccine a $1,200 stimulus check? Then it turned into a $1,500 stimulus check. It's possible the government could do that. If they believe that the best way to get through this pandemic, to get through this COVID issue, and open up the economy again, the best way to do it is to provide a $1,500 stimulus check to every single person, every single American that gets a vaccine, well, let's do it. That's what they're currently saying. What multiple reports are saying this afternoon is that Joe Biden is not going to wait around to see what President Trump and the Trump administration does right or what they mess up. He is already putting together a plan, and it starts with masks and vaccinations. Not only does Joe Biden want to ask Americans to wear masks for the first 100 days of his administration, he wants to distribute 100 million vaccines in the first 100 days. That is on top of whatever the Trump administration has currently done. This is going to require much more money. Much more money. And Congress must get this done. This is why Joe Biden stated, Congress did their job, but hopefully they can do it again in this next year. That's what he said, I believe on December 21st, 22nd. It's a little bit before Christmas. One report this morning indicates that Joe Biden would like to see a package that addresses the following. A stimulus package that includes additional stimulus checks. Again, maybe an incentive for people to go and get a vaccine. Larger unemployment benefits, because he feels that people that are currently unemployed are having the toughest time, which I agree with that. State and local government funding, because states are currently using the leftover funds that they have in order to try to get something set up, a system in place to get these vaccines distributed and get these administered to the American people. He also wants to provide more funds for vaccine distribution so that states do not have to pull money from other places in order to shove it into distribution, which the government should be taking care of on their own. He also wants to provide some funding for PPE, personal protective equipment. Masks obviously are a big one. If if he wants the American people to wear a mask for the first 100 days, some people do not want to go and buy a mask. So what do? You have to give them a mask. You have to give businesses boxes of masks so that when somebody comes in and they do not have a mask, give them a mask. That's what he's wanting. And he wants these negotiated before he takes office, because he says the first 100 days starts on January 20th. He wants to hit the ground running, and he doesn't want to stop. That's what we're hearing. Now, what we know now is that right now a lot of issues could be resolved with additional money. We know this. In most cases, more money doesn't mean more problems. More money means more opportunities. That's what we know. Yet, Congress at this point is content with the $900 billion that they passed just a little over a week ago. Now, this is more of a developing story. I don't have all the details here. Obviously, Joe Biden he's come out and gave some advice, some insights as to where he's moving, where he's going with what his plans are. But as far as giving too much detail, he's not there yet. He's still working on his plan. They're still working on everything because President Trump and the Trump administration is currently in power. So the Biden administration is working kind of behind the scenes to get things going, but right now it's a continuing story. We don't know what's going to happen on January 20th. We don't know what's going to happen on January 5th. And we don't know what's going to happen on January 6th when Mike Pence is supposed to certify the Electoral College votes. We don't know. We will have to see what happens then. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll share more. Consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on, and I'll see you guys on the next one.